So I reckon we've got everybody now. We've only got a minute to go. So the downside about this is I can't see you. I can't see what you're doing, but you can see me. So just be mindful of yourself. Only do what you can do. And if we're stretching, just do it gently. Don't overstretch. Just listen to your body and allow the stretch to happen slowly. Make sure you're aware of your weaknesses. So if your hamstrings are tight, just be aware of them and allow yourself to stretch slowly. I'm going to try my hardest to give you as many verbal cues as I would do normally in the class, but obviously I can't see you, so I can't necessarily see whether your position needs improving. So just be mindful, watch my position, and I'll try and get you to adjust where possible. Just take it slowly. And the current guideline for drinking water is you really should take water every 15 minutes. So if you have come into contact with the virus, you can wash it down into your stomach. And hopefully if you've got good stomach acid in your stomach, it will destroy the virus. So just be mindful of your water. If you have music, please put it on now. And be aware that the flooring that you're on is different maybe to the classroom that we normally have this class. So just be aware, and if you're on carpet, the balance will be slightly different. I mean, having said that, I haven't got any one-legged balances planned for today's class, so just be mindful of that. So I've done my health and safety. So props, if you haven't got blocks, I said you could use pillows. If you haven't got straps, you could use a dressing gown tie or a tie. And the reason that we've got the towel for later is so when we finish and come into Shavasana, if you've got a hand towel, you just need to fold it in half and kind of get it to a size where you can just put over your eyes so it blocks out the light, because obviously you've got your lights on. So that's the reason for the hand towel today. If you're lucky enough, or your name's Georgia, and you've made 4 lovely lavender bags this week, then you're obviously in a better place. And well done for Georgia for all of her sewing. So that's that explained. We are going to start. So we're going to start seated. So if you can come into a seated position and cross your legs. So bring yourself into a position that works for you. So if you're somebody that can do locust or that you can bring your legs into lotus, if not, just bring them out into a cross-legged position. And we're just going to start by gently warming up. So breathe nice and deeply. Place your hands onto your knees. Allow your hips to relax. If you want to, you can put a block underneath your bottom. I'm sitting on pillows. And just bring your hands so your thumb and forefinger are touching. And just close your eyes. And just breathe nice and deeply. Inhaling in and out through your nose. Just keep taking a nice breath and feel your body move as you breathe. Just be mindful. There's been a lot going on in the last few weeks. Lots of things are happening to people, so just take time to be quiet and calm. So breathing nice and deeply. I want you to think about opening your eyes. We're going to start off by rolling the shoulders. So roll the shoulders back and down, take them round, nice big circles. Make sure you're breathing as you do this. Don't hold your breath. We're going to go round for 4 circles one way, and then we're going to come back for 4 circles the other way. Listening out for all those creaking joints because we've not been doing any exercise. And just allow your shoulders to come to stillness. We're going to do a neck roll for our next movement. So take your head over to the right And then just slowly take your head down towards your chest, rolling it gently, coming back up to the top. And you're going to do that again. So coming on round. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you go down. And when you get back to the top, we're going to go the other way. So go back 3 circles the other way. So going to the left, coming round, bring it back up. Keep going round. Make sure you're breathing and sitting nice and tall when you do this. So we're going to shrug the shoulders. So as you inhale, bring your shoulders up. And as you exhale, let them down away from your ears. We're going to inhale up. And exhale down. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. So we're going to do another stretch on the neck. So take your head over to the right hand side. Take your left hand out and really stretch the hand away from you. You want to sort of imagine that you're trying to get your hands down to the floor by the side of you. So you'll get a stretch all the way through your neck, down through your arms to your fingers. And again, just make sure you're breathing in and out through your nose. And then as you inhale, release the arm and bring the head back. We're swapping over to the other side. So take the head over to the other side. Bring the arm out to the side and really try and lengthen those fingers down. Feel that stretch. You might find it's different on one side to the other, but just a nice stretch. If it's too overpowering, then take something out of the stretch. Relax the arm a little bit. And then bring your head back to the centre and bring your hands to your knees. If your knees are feeling uncomfortable at this stage, you could always take your legs out in front of you and unrelease the cross of your legs. Or you could always change the cross of the legs to go the other side so that the knees loosen out a little bit. So we're going to take our right arm up to the sky. As you exhale, bring it down behind your head. So your hand is touching the back of your shoulder blades. And then take your other hand and just grab for the elbow. Just see whether you can pull that elbow in towards your head a little bit. Don't overstretch, just do what you can do. Just breathing nice and deeply. And as you exhale, just release both hands. We're going to do the other hand now. So left hand up to the sky. Exhale, bring it down behind your back. Then take your other hand over the top and pull the arm to the centre. Nice stretch coming through here all the way down to the side of your ribs. Just breathing nice and gently. And then as you exhale, lower your arms down to your side. We're just going to roll the shoulders again. So rolling them back 3 times one way. And then come back the other way. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. So we're going to move on to our legs now. So we're going to come into butterfly pose. So bring your feet together and your knees together. And then when you're ready, as you exhale, take your knees out to the side, allowing the soles of your feet to come together. So the ultimate aim of this posture is to try and get your heels a little bit closer to your pelvis. So you can scoop the legs in a little bit if you need to. And we're just going to hold on to the toes. So stretch nice and tall. Your back should be nice and long. If you find that your arms are a little bit short to do this posture and you feel like your back's really curved, then maybe grab onto your ankles and sit nice and tall. Breathing nice and deeply. So we're going to see if we can put a little bit of a stretch into the legs. So think about your elbows and take your elbows down so that they come onto your thighs, and you can gently push weight into the thighs to stretch the thighs out. You may need to lean forward slightly to add a little bit more weight into the legs, because Again, length of arms is different on different people. You could also put your hands onto your knees and try and push out, but because of my tight hips, that doesn't work for me, but you can try that if you want. And just breathe. So we're going to take the stretch a little bit further. So I'm just turning sideways, just stay where you are. So if you come into cobblers, you need your back to be nice and straight. You're not going to lean over and bend forward. You want the back nice and straight. And then we're just going to see whether we can keep the back straight and maybe lean forward a little bit. Just inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. But don't push it too far. Just do what your body feels is comfortable for it. And if you want to, you can take your hands down to the floor and just see whether you can walk your hands forward to put a little bit more of a stretch in. But again, if you've got a restriction through the hips, this isn't a comfortable stretch to do, so just be careful and do what feels comfortable for you. Lovely, just inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And then we're going to inhale and come up to a seated position. So I'm just coming back round to see you. So we're going to do a one-legged wide stretch. So take your left leg out to the side. So you've got that wide angle position, but keep your right leg tucked in. So if you're like me and you're leaning on a hard floor, you might want to go back and make sure you're on your mat. That's it. So turn along your short leg. So I want you to turn your body so that you're coming round and looking along the short leg. Just take your left hand down to the knee and you're going to inhale your right hand up to the sky. And as you exhale, you're leaning over to try and reach towards the foot of the left leg. So if you're feeling quite tight, just allow yourself to gently come into this stretch. You might find that as you do it, you might come down a little bit closer. You should get a big stretch coming all the way through the side. And you might also find that it's coming into the lower back just here. So if you've got tightness in your lower back, just be careful and maybe come out the stretch slightly. So just stay here, make sure you breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to inhale, bring ourselves back up to the sky. Release the hand as you exhale. So now we're going to turn the body from the short leg and look along the long leg. You might have to just adjust yourself slightly and push the leg out in front of you, making sure this leg's still bent. So again, sit tall, hips facing forwards. You're going to inhale up and then exhale, take your hands down towards your feet. You're either resting on the knee, the shin, or you're reaching amazingly down towards your foot. So allow your neck to relax and become comfortable. Just breathe. Being aware of your body. And see whether your breath will allow you to increase your stretch just a little bit more. And then we're going to inhale, bring ourselves back up the leg. Bring yourself back to the centre. We're going to swap over to the other leg. So take your right leg out and bring your left leg in. If your knee feels tight on the leg that we just straightened out, just give it a little wobble to make it feel better. So we're going to do all that again. So we're going to inhale, turn to the right. You're looking down the short leg. Sorry, left. Getting confused. Put your right hand to your knee. Inhale your left hand up to the sky and just folding over towards the side. You really want to try and open up and think about where you're gazing. You could gaze up towards the sky, and that does slightly change the stretch towards your lower back rather than on the side. Again, if you feel like the stretch will allow you, you can come over Just a little bit more with your breath. Just take it slowly. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, bring the arm back up. And exhale, release the arm down. Hope everybody's joining in with me and they're not just sitting there laughing at me. So bring your body now along your long leg. So you might want to adjust slightly so that your hips are a little bit more aligned. You're going to sit nice and tall. So remember, engage those tummy muscles. And as you exhale, just slowly take your hands down towards your foot. Just stretching out nice and long. Just inhaling and exhaling. Allow yourself to feel your body slowly sinking towards your knee as you breathe in and out through your nose. Now, if you find that you're quite sinusy, I understand that the hay fever season is kicking in. So if you find you're quite sinusy, it might be an idea to breathe through your mouth. But just work on what works for you. And then slowly inhale and bring yourself back up to a seated position. We're just going to take both legs out wide now. So take both legs out wide. Open up, legs as wide as you can get them. And I just want you to think about sitting up straight. So imagine that you're pushing your head up towards the sky and you're sitting nice and straight. Your hamstrings will get a little bit of a pull on this one. So again, I can feel it down the outside of the right leg. Just be aware of where you can feel it. Breathing nice and deeply. So then we're going to take our hands out in front of us. So bring your hands out slowly and walk your hands towards the front of the mat. And allow yourself to come down towards the floor. Again, just do what works for you. Don't overstretch it. Don't overthink it. Everybody's got different stretchability. So just do what works for you. Breathing nice and deeply. If you're feeling that your hamstrings are way too tight, you might want to think about bending the knees slightly, and that will take some tension out of the hamstrings. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, bring ourselves back up to an upright position. Lovely. And then we're going to bring the knees back together. So bring your knees together and just give yourself a little hug. Not allowed to hug anybody else at the moment, so giving yourself a nice little hug's fine. So we're just going to do one more move like this. We're going to take our legs out just slightly wide and take your hands behind your back to balance you. And we're going to do some hip rotations. So we're just going to swivel the legs over to the side. So as you exhale, take your hips over to one side. Inhale, bring them back to the centre. And exhale over. Just allow the legs to relax. You won't necessarily get them both to the floor. Just take them to where works for you. So inhale them back up. And exhale over. Inhale up. And exhale over. Lovely. Just bring your knees back to the centre. And again, give your knees a nice little hug. So we're about 15 minutes in. So I'm just reminding you, take a sip of water if you need it. And we're going to come over onto our knees. Now, if you feel your knees don't like being knelt on, maybe put cushions underneath them, or you could stay in a seated cross-legged position just for one move. So bring yourself over. Just going to get rid of my pillow. I'm going to kneel on my pillow and take my feet down so my feet are flat towards the floor. So if you can, sit back onto your heels. I know a lot of people can't do this. So if you can always sit in that position and work out what works for you, or alternatively cross your legs back over into a seated cross-legged position. So we're sitting on our heels and And we're going to open the shoulders. So I want you to take your hands behind your back and intertwine your fingers. As you exhale, take your hands down towards the floor. And then I want you to inhale and lift your shoulders and bring your shoulders back. So you're opening the chest. And you might even want to think about lifting your hands away from your chest. So a lot of people suffer from tight pecs. This is one to give them a good stretch. So your chest muscles. Just breathe nice and deeply. And slowly exhale. Lower your hands down and release them. Just give them a nice little shake. We're going to come into child's pose now. We're going to do child's pose followed by puppy pose. So if you like to do child's pose with your knees nice and wide, just take your knees out nice and wide. And when you're ready, just exhale. Take your hands forwards towards the top of the mat and allow yourself to come down onto the floor. Relax your head down and just breathe nice and gently in child's pose. So with child's pose, I feel that my heels and my bottom are disconnected from each other. So I'm just pushing back with my hands and my body to put my heels and bottom back together. So that I get a good stretch through my back, through my hips. Just talking into the floor there, muffling the sound. Hope you could hear that. Just allow yourself to relax. Take a few breaths. And feel this stretch working for you. Different people like different sides to this pose. So some people don't like to have their knees together, but actually having the legs wider allows the chest and the tummy to come through. So just allow yourself to stretch down to the floor. And we're going to come back up to a seated position. So inhale, bring yourself up and bring your knees together again for me. And we're going to come into puppy pose. So puppy pose is where you put your bottom in the air when you do, it's a variation on child's pose. So I would come up onto my hands and knees, take my hands out wide in front of me, and then push my bottom up to the sky. So you want to think about pushing your bottom to the sky and bringing your chest down to the floor, not your head, but your chest. So you're getting a real stretch through the shoulder blades, to the back, got a nice arch into the back. And just allow yourself to feel the stretch in that position. Just stay there and breathe nice and gently. Hope everybody's enjoying this. We welcome your feedback. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly come up back onto our knees. We're not staying here, we're going to come off the knees. So bring yourself slowly up into a standing position. So free any blocks from your mat. And we're going to come to a position with your feet probably about shoulder width apart. So take your feet out to shoulder width apart. And we're just going to do some gentle squats. So all I want you to think about doing is just bending the knees, keep the body nice and straight. And as you inhale, bring yourself back up. Exhale down. And inhale up. We'll do that again. Exhale down. And inhale up. And one more time. Exhale down. And inhale up. So we're going to do another wide-legged position, but we're going to do this standing up. So I want you to take your legs out nice and wide. And get yourself so your bottom's nicely squeezed, your tummy's nice and firm. We're going to inhale, and then when you exhale, just take your hands down your legs towards the floor, towards where it's comfortable for you. So if you can only reach the knees, stay there, or if you can reach the shins or the ankles, just bring yourself into this position. Make sure your head is nicely relaxed and hanging down so you're looking behind you. Just feel the stretch. If you're feeling quite sinusy, you might find that your nose is blocking up. But just make sure you breathe and change your breath to your mouth if you are feeling stuck up. So what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to bend your knees and push your bottom down towards the floor. You only want your bottom to come to, or your waistline to come to your knees. So as you exhale, you bend the knees and bring your body in line with your thighs and keep it there. You want the neck nice and straight. And then you're going to go back into that forward bend. So push your bottom up to the sky as you exhale, head's coming down again. You're really trying to push the bottom up to the sky. And as you exhale, come back down into that wide squat position, body's in line with the knees. And again, as you exhale, take your head down, push your bottom up to the sky, really engage your tummy muscles, squeeze them in. And one more time, we're going to exhale down, lower the body down. So your body's in line with your legs, your knees are nicely bent. And then release your hands from your feet, and we're going to inhale, come back up to the sky. Lovely. So just give your legs a nice little shake. Hopefully that's not too tight on your hamstrings. It's quite a big one for the hamstrings. So remember, we're going to do another version. So if your hamstrings feel quite tight, you want to bend the knees slightly. So bring your legs out to a wide position. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're going to come down to the floor again. So you're grabbing for your heels or your ankles, shins. What I want you to think about doing is your hip. I want you to think about pushing the hip to one side, keeping the legs straight, and then push the hips to the other side. So you're just keeping the legs straight and pushing from one side to the other. So as you inhale, you go to one side, and as you exhale, you come to the other. Just do that a few times for me, making sure you've done even amount on both sides. Let's do one more either way. And bring yourself back to the centre. Okay, so one more attempt of a stretch with our legs wide. We're going to take our right hand and bring it over to the left foot. So your body's going to come and be in line with your left leg. You should feel that stretch coming up the inside or the back of your left foot leg. And then as you inhale, come back to the centre. And as you exhale, take yourself over to the right leg. Again, feel that stretch coming all the way up the inside of your thigh. And breathe nice and gently. If that stretch is overbearing in your hamstrings, again, don't forget you can bend the knees to take the tension out of your knees. And then as you inhale, bring yourself back to the centre of the mat. Stay here, take a breath, and on your next inhale, you're going to come up to a standing position and then bring your feet back together. So we're going to come to the front of the mat. So come to the short, long end of your mat, and we're going to do a crescent lunge. So stand nice and tall, inhale. You're going to step back with your right leg, coming back about 4 feet. You want to be on the balls of your back foot. So you're coming into crescent lunge and your hips are facing forwards. And from here, we're then going to come into runner's lunge, which means we're going to lower the knee down to the floor, release the back foot down. So think about keeping your hips nice and square, you're facing forwards, and you just want to push your knee slightly forward. Your heel doesn't want to come off the floor, you're just gently pushing that heel forward. I'm going to add in a movement. I'm just turning around so you can see the movement I'm going to do. So I'm facing forwards and my hands are down to my sides. So now you're going to take your right hand down to the floor. You're adding a side bend in, so you're coming down to the side. Feel that stretch coming all the way through here. If you wanted to extend it, you can always bring this arm up and make the stretch even harder. But this is quite a hard position to hold. If your core's not strong, you might find you're wobbling all over the place. Inhale, bring it back to the centre and come over to the other side. If you're feeling discomfort in your back knee, you might want to put a pillow or cushion under there. Inhale, bring it back to centre. Now we're going to put the hands to the floor by the feet, and you're going to straighten your front leg. So I'm just going to move around to the side again. So your front leg will be straightened and you're still leaning on your back leg, and you want to just put your hands to the floor and just allow yourself to relax into the floor. So you should feel the stretch coming through your calf or the back of your hamstring. Or if your hips are tight, you might feel it in the back, sort of around there, but on the other side. So allow yourself to stretch and use your breath to bring yourself into a bigger stretch. Don't forget, you can come out of a posture at any time. I'm just judging it on what would normally happen in a class. And then you're going to bend the front knee. Bring that leg back to you a little bit. Tuck your back toes under and come up to standing. Lovely. Hope you're all with me. Just checking how many people have still got in there. Yeah, got a few people. So you need to do the other leg now. So I'm going to step back with the left leg. So as you inhale, stand up nice and tall. Exhale, take the left leg back towards the back of the room and coming into crescent lunge. So hopefully getting a nice stretch in through the hip. Hips are facing forwards. And then as you exhale, next time, lower your left knee down to the floor, release your foot. So in this position, I want you to think about pushing this front knee slightly forward, so you should get a stretch into the back hip. Just allow yourself to feel that stretch and bring your hands down to your side. So again, I'm just turning around to go through this with you. So arms down to the side. This time we're going to do a side bend towards the left-hand side. So take the left hand down towards the floor. When I say towards, I'm being quite loose with that comment. I'm nowhere near. So bring yourself over, feel that stretch coming all the way through the side of the body. And again, if you're feeling really flexible and your balance is good, you might want to bring the hand over to the side. And then inhale, bring your arm back to the centre, and exhale, bring it down. We're going to do the other side. So as you exhale, take the other side down towards the floor. Sorry, doing the wrong hand. So we should be going down with the right hand now. And again, if you want to, you can always bring this hand over the top. But be aware your balance may be a little bit more wobbly. And as you inhale, bring your hand back to the centre. Exhale, lower your hand down. Lovely. We're going to come into that side split. So I'm just moving around to show you. Stay where you are. So from that position, you're going to put your hands to the floor and push back so that this front leg now straightens. You might want to adjust the foot slightly and you want the foot flexed. So while you've got your hands down on the floor, just allow yourself to breathe and feel the stretch coming into the back of your leg, into your bottom. Just breathe nice and gently. Just do another breath for me. Inhaling and exhaling. And as you inhale, bend your front knee, bring your foot to the floor, tuck your back toes under, and bring yourself back up to standing. Lovely. Just give your legs a nice little shake. Well done. I think we're just over halfway through the class. Just move the bits out of the way. So we're going to lay down on the floor now. So bring yourself down onto your back, and we're going to start in Apanasana. Again, we're half an hour through, so you might want to take some water again, just to keep yourself hydrated. Okay, so we're coming down onto our backs, laying down on the floor. So just adjusting clothing, we're going to do Apanasana. So as you inhale, bring your right knee to your chest. As you exhale, bring your left knee to your chest, and just hold the knees gently with your hands. So instead of rocking from side to side like we would normally do, I want you to rock up and down. So just pull on your knees gently and take them towards your chest, and then allow them to come back. Inhale. and exhale. Do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. So we're going to take your right leg down to the floor, stretch the right leg out in front of you, and think about trying to lengthen that foot away from you. So you're trying to push the leg away, but you don't want to adjust your hips. Your hips should still stay in line with each other. You're just pushing the leg away rather than the hip going down with it. So just gently squeeze your left leg into your chest. Feel that stretch coming through the body, and try and keep your back leg down when you do that stretch through the body. Okay. So take your right hand down to the floor to balance you, and we're going to do a different move than I would normally do. So take your left hand and put it on the inside of your knee, and use the weight of your hand to open your thigh down towards the floor. You're not coming across the midline, you're opening the body up. So use the hand that's on top of the left knee and just straighten the knee out. Think about your shoulders. Your shoulders should be nicely on the floor. And you're almost trying to push your shoulders into the floor. And while you're laying on the floor, if you find that your neck is a bit uncomfortable and you're looking up sort of slightly backwards, then you might want to put a pillow, a blanket or a block underneath your head, but only a thin block, not the thick blocks. Lovely. Okay, well done. And then bring your top hand of your left hand underneath your knee and bring the knee back to the centre. We're going to swap arms now. So take your left hand down to the floor to balance you. Take your other hand over onto your knee, and we're going to cross the midline like we would normally do. So bring that leg across. You're trying to keep your left shoulder on the floor, bringing your left knee across your body. And we're looking for that stretch to come all the way through the bottom maybe, and all the way through the back. So you're rotating round, stretching the back. And then we're going to inhale, bring that knee back to the centre. And gently squeeze it into your chest. So I've not been very organised. We're going to use a strap now. So I want you to take one of your straps. This is my dressing gown strap. And I want you to hook that around your foot. So you're going to take the foot up to the sky, grab the straps in both hands. So we're going to just try and stretch this leg down a little bit. So back leg again, think about pushing it down towards the floor, the wall away from you. And we're trying to straighten this leg. So I don't want you to, if you feel like you've got to bend the knee, then the leg's too far up. If you've got to straighten the leg and take it away from you, and that's a straight position, then that's what we want. And what we're doing is using the strap to try and pull the leg up. But as soon as you feel your hamstrings get uncomfortable, you need to bend the knee. So, or take the leg back so that you straighten it. So just bring the leg on over to wherever works for you. Really feel like you're putting a good stretch through the back of the leg. And it might be interesting to take a note of where you feel the tightness. If you feel the tightness in your calf, just be aware of where in the calf you feel it. Some people feel it right on the Achilles tendon, and other people feel it right in the body of the calf. So it might be worth just taking a note of that. And if I remember, I'll show you something you can do to help that out in a little bit. Well done. So we're going to release this leg now. So as you exhale, just release the leg and take the strap off the leg. And we're going to bring that leg down to the floor. So just take a few breaths, and we're going to do the other side. So we're going to inhale and lift the right leg up towards the chest. Squeeze the knee gently into the chest with the hands, and make sure that your left leg that's on the floor is pushing away from you, but your hips are not coming out of line. Just gently squeeze the knee into your chest. If you feel a restriction that you can't pull the leg in, and the restriction feels like it's right at the hip, then it could be that your hip joint is not allowing you to move forward. So you might want to take the leg out to the side slightly to pull it in, and it might make the stretch different. And then we're going to do another open leg stretch on this side. So take your left hand down to the floor to balance you. Take your right hand to the inside of your thigh and your knee and take that leg over to the side. You're using the hand just to stretch the knee out. If you find that your bottom is coming off the floor when you're doing this, then you need to bring the knee back slightly and allow the bottom and the hip of the left leg to stay down. So just allow that leg to come out. See, on me, this is my really tight hip, and this is not comfortable for me. So I'm just being careful and keeping my knee up. I'm trying to squeeze my bottom muscles to help me keep down. Lovely. Just see whether your hand can allow the leg to come down a little bit more. Now I've got comfortable, I feel like the leg can stretch a little bit more, and it's slowly letting go and letting the knee come down. Whereas it just wouldn't move before. So just breathing nice and gently. Well done, everybody. And then take your hand to the outside of your knee and bring the knee back to the centre. So we're going to swap arms now. So left hand comes onto the outside of the knee, right hand comes down to the floor to balance. Just breathe nice and deeply. So from here, you're going to take your right leg across your midline, use the hand to pull it over, so you're adding a stretch into the spine and a stretch into your glutes. Keep your right shoulder on the floor, and if you have enough room and you've got your arm out straight, you could allow yourself to look down your arm. Feel that stretch coming into your thigh, into your back. Just breathe and let the stretch relax. And then when you're ready, just bring that knee back to the centre. Squeeze the knee into your chest, and you're looking for the strap again. So take your strap, put it round your foot, and bring your leg to where it feels comfortable straight. So if your leg is straight back here, that's perfectly fine. If you can, then bring the leg up, keeping your knee straight as you can. As soon as the knee starts to bend, then take the leg back so that you're straighter here. Think about your bottom leg again. Keep pushing it away, but keep your hips straight. And then use the strap to pull your leg gently towards you. Don't overdo it. Just do it nice and gently. And allow yourself to breathe. And allow yourself to feel that you've relaxed into the stretch. No, you're not fighting the stretch. You want to relax. Just breathing nice and deeply. And then we're going to bend the leg. Release the strap. Hug the knee into your chest. And then bring the other knee into the chest as well. And just rock from side to side in Apanasana. Just allow yourself to loosen the back, allow the hips to relax. So we're going to take both feet to the floor. So your knees are bent. So as if we were coming into bridge position, your knees are bent and you want your feet out to the sides of your mat. So your little toe are touching the side of your mat. Now, if you've got a really large mat, that's not a good idea. But hopefully your mat's a nice kind of 2-foot sized mat, and you're going to take your feet out to the side. So we're going to work on the left leg. Keep the left leg on the floor, foot where it is. Bring your right leg up so that the right ankle comes over the left knee. And take your right hand onto the knee and push the knee gently away from you. Some people don't need to use the hand. You can actually use the knee to push it out further. Entirely up to you. Just feel that stretch opening up. Breathing nice and deeply. I hope there's lots of people still there. It's really strange, can't see you. Okay, and then we're going to do an opposite move to this. So instead of pushing the knee away from you, you want to bring the knee closer to your chest. Grab the knee with both hands and take it across so that it's coming over to the left shoulder. So you're now putting a stretch through your right bottom cheek. Using the hands to pull against the knee. And again, you might find that the leg will slowly allow you to stretch over just a little bit. Make sure you keep both shoulders on the floor as you pull. So I'm going to rock over to the side. Just take one more breath. And as you exhale, take the knee back, release that foot to the floor. Take it out wide to the edge of the mat, like we've just done on the other side, and cross your left ankle over your right knee. And use your left hand to push your knee away from you, or use the hip and the muscles in your leg to push the knee away from you, wherever feels strongest for you. You might find that your arm is too short and you can't quite reach the leg. Just breathing nice and deeply. Take one more breath for me. And then we're going to take the knee and bring the knee closer towards your chest. Take both hands around the knee and pull that knee in towards your right shoulder. So you're really using the hands to stretch it. So hopefully you feel a stretch coming through your bottom cheek. You might not, because you might not have tight hips, tight bottom muscles. That's where the stretch is being aimed for. Lovely. And then we're going to release that leg and bring it down. So bring both knees back to your chest and squeeze your knees in Apanasana and rock gently from side to side. So we are going to come up into a seated position. So if you've got low blood pressure, roll to the left, high blood pressure, roll to the right. And if your blood pressure's fine, just bring yourself up to a seated position. And then we're going to lay onto our fronts. So bring yourself over and lay down on your front. So we're going to start off by bringing our hands and our shoulders in, our elbows and shoulders in line with each other. You're coming into Sphinx pose. So just think about opening up your chest, inhaling, looking forward. Just breathing. Think about your shoulder blades as well. Try and pull your shoulder blades down your back. And as you exhale, just lower yourself down to the floor. Take your head to the floor and bring your hands under your shoulders. We're going to come into baby cobra now. So baby cobra is a bent armed position. So hands under your shoulders and just bend your arms. Use your arm strength to push you up into that half position. If your back is too tight and you're not enjoying this, then go back to Sphinx, the movement we did before. And as you exhale, lower your head down to the floor. Keep your hands where they are. We're going to come up into full cobra now. Again, if you don't like full cobra, stay in one of the earlier positions. Be careful with your back. So as you inhale, lift your chin off the floor and bring your arms into a nice straight position. So your hips will probably be off the floor. Shoulders back and down, not near your ears. Really push your hands into the floor. And as you exhale, lower it back down to the floor. We're going to do just one more version. So we're going to come up into up dog, but again, stay in Sphinx, baby cobra or cobra, if that works for you. So for up dog, you're going to push the hands into the floor, lift the thighs off the floor. So you're just resting on the back of the feet. Just take a few breaths. And as you exhale, lower yourself back down to the floor. Lovely. And we're going to sit back on our heels. So bring yourself back into child's pose. Come off the floor. Allow your knees to come nice and wide. And sit your heels, your bottom onto your heels, and stretch your arms in front of you. If your shoulders are feeling quite heavy after today's session, you can always take your hands down towards your feet. And just relax into the floor. And then we're slowly going to come up off the floor. It is actually Shavasana time now. I've run out of time. I've not got my timings right. So for Shavasana, depending on your environment, you might want to put on a jumper, some socks. You might have a nice blanket with you that you can lay over you. And if you've got a pillow, take your pillow down to the floor. So pillow under the head. Lay yourself down onto your back. And just get yourself nice and comfortable. So if that towel is close by and you've already folded it up, you could put the towel over your eyes. It's a good way of blocking out the light to allow yourself to concentrate. But if you've got a lavender bag, then put the lavender bag over your eyes. If you haven't already laid down, just again, take a sip of water. And just take yourself onto the floor. So I don't normally lay down in this position because I'm talking you through things. So I'm just going to get my cushions and I'm going to sit and talk you through what we're going to do for this week's Shavasana. So thank you to any of you that watched my first ever YouTube posting of my Safe Haven video. I was quite chuffed with that. I had about 80 views on it earlier. So easily excited I am. So thank you very much for joining me. And I hope this hasn't been too painful. I would welcome feedback. I think we've lost a few people off the call, but not many. So close your eyes and allow your body to relax into the mat. Just breathe nice and deeply. Be aware of the rise and fall of your breath. Just gently allow your brain to relax. Hopefully, by focusing on your yoga practice tonight, your brain feels a little bit calmer. And we're going to go on a guided walk. So we're going to start by setting the scene. It's a cool spring day. The sky is blue and the sun is warm. There are big, puffy, white cotton ball clouds in the sky. And there's a cool breeze blowing, which is making the air slightly chilled. But you feel warm because the sun is shining on your skin. We've got our walking boots on. We're going on a little bit of an adventure. We're not going too far. But we're going to walk along a gravel path. And as you move from one foot to the other, the gravel crunches underneath your shoes. And as you walk each step, you hear the gravel crunching. It's quite a wide path. And on the edges of the path, there's some larger boulders and larger rocks that haven't been placed there by human hands. This is all as nature has created. And if you look beyond the boulders and the rocks, there's green meadow, green grass. And as it's spring, grass would have been starting to get a little bit longer, but there's some wildlife that lives around the area, and even some farm animals. There's sheep, wild goats that are grazing on the pasture. But they're far enough away that they can't get to you, but they have kept the grass nice and low. If you look carefully, you'll find that there's lots of little flowers in the meadow. There's like little white daisies, there's some alpine plants, some heathers. of yellows and whites and pinks and purples. We're just setting the scene around us before we do the big expose. So as you look up, your gaze is filled with a massive mountain range. As you turn your head to the right, there's mountains all the way around. It's like a panoramic shot from your camera. As you turn all the way around towards the left, and there are mountains everywhere. Small peaks, tall peaks, jagged peaks and pointy peaks. All different, created by nature. Some of the higher peaks are covered with snow, and the lower peaks are not. And the mountains have a dark grey granite look to them. And the contrast between the white snow and the grey is quite soothing to the eye. One of your mountains has got a small waterfall on it, and you can see the water coming out of the mountain and running down. There's foaming bubbles as the water comes down the hillside and chills out. Sorry, my battery's going low. So gently, as you look around, you start to explore a little bit more. You've noticed that there's some pine trees on the mountains, and as you look around, you'll see there's trees on the edges of the mountain and on the edges of the pasture. They're bright green pine trees, full of beautiful pines. And the branches are looking strong and straight and majestic. If you take your mind back, these trees would have been here in the winter, and the weight of the snow that fell would have put some strain onto these branches. So now the trees stand tall and proud. And they're enjoying the midday sun. So now you've set your scene, you can just explore around your imaginary mountains and just add little things into your view that work for you. You may be happy with what we've set up. And you're just going to look around and gaze around in your imagination and be calm and relax in this peaceful place. There are some small noises that you can hear, like the water from the fountain, the waterfall. And you may be aware that the sheep that are grazing the meadow are eating and buying. If you listen carefully, you'll be able to hear the birds as they twitter, as they go about their daily business. They're probably getting quite busy now. They're making nests. They may even have babies by now, so they're feeding the babies or building the nest. So you can see lots of movement of the wildlife. Just breathe. Be aware of how wonderfully clean the breath is that you are breathing in. Fresh mountain air. You may be a little bit higher, so altitude makes the air a little bit thinner. But it's not difficult to breathe. It's just purer and cleaner. Just refreshing as you breathe it in through the nostrils and out. So relax and breathe. And I hope you've felt calm again for just a small moment. So inhaling and exhaling through your nose, breathing gently. We're going to start to wake the body back up. So just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, bringing life back in. Now if you've placed a lavender bag or a towel over your eyes, keep your eyes closed and gently remove the lavender bag or towel and put it down to the side. You'll notice that instead of having a dark black to the image of your eyes, you'll have kind of an orange glow now as the light comes back in. So we're going to bring the right knee up to the chest as we inhale, and as you exhale, bring the left knee to join it. Just gently squeeze those knees into your chest and rock yourself from side to side. Just taking a few more breaths as you lay there. We are going to bring ourselves up to a seated position. So when you're ready, roll to the left if you've got low blood pressure, roll to the right if you've got high blood pressure, and just sit yourself up nice and tall. So when you get here, just put your hands into your heart center, rest your thumbs onto your chest. Just close your eyes for a few more moments. Breathing nice and deeply. Just open your eyes, and I give you praise for bearing with me during my live stream. I hope it's been interesting, and I would love your feedback. So just before you go, please subscribe to my channel, and you can keep the link, the second link that I sent you, to allow you to rewatch the video. But bear in mind, we didn't start till about 20 minutes, so don't watch the first 20 minutes. And if you liked it, please share it with your friends. I look forward to seeing you again, well, being on the other end of the laptop from you again soon. Om Shanti. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Good night.